Welcome to what a speaker's assistant can do for you. I'm Jan King, and I teach virtual assistants to become speaker's assistants, so I'm excited to share a little bit about the benefits of working with a speaker's assistant today. Becoming a paid professional speaker is one of the biggest personal and professional achievements of a lifetime, and well worth understanding and doing well. We recommend that you spend some time with gurus in the industry and learn as much as you can about the differences between a highly successful speaker and one who works hard but doesn't make the income he or she deserves. We also recommend you consider working with a speaker's assistant who knows the speaking industry from an administrative perspective and can handle many of the tasks that would otherwise fall to you. As a result of the many changes in the industry and the economic challenges, speakers are now responsible for more of the process than they were 15 years ago. Virtual or live assistants who work primarily with speakers and trainers are called speakers' assistants. While many speakers have had assistants, this work was traditionally done in the speaker's home office and often by a spouse. It can now be done virtually. The Certified Professional Speaker's Assistant has been trained to take on many of the office administration, event logistics, and marketing tasks, allowing you, the speaker, to focus on only those things you can do, such as writing the speech, rehearsing, traveling, and being on stage. Because the speaker's assistant has worked with the other speakers, he or she knows what to expect and can be critical in keeping your office running smoothly, maximizing your time on stage. There are 5 parts to the job of the speaker's assistant: managing the speaker's intellectual property, managing the speaker's marketing and sales process, managing speaking logistics, managing the speaker's office, and managing the speaker's products. We will examine each of these and the specific tasks speaker's assistants do in each of these categories. Let's first talk about the types of tasks in which a speaker's assistant can be a critical piece in the puzzle, starting with those that relate to managing the speaker's intellectual property. There are critical tasks for speakers involving organizing source documents, doing audience and competitive research, fact-checking, and obtaining permission to use the work of others when necessary, helping to create multimedia presentations such as PowerPoints and handouts, and writing articles. A speaker's assistant can help with each of these critical tasks. We're going to look more carefully at one of these tasks, obtaining permissions to use the work of others in your handouts and other written materials, to give you an idea of what to expect when you work with a speaker's assistant. The speaker may have to consult with an intellectual property attorney to see if he or she needs permission to use the work of others. On the screen, you can see a permission request for images, which are photos, illustrations, and cartoons, that is part of what the speaker's assistant is using to work with and get permission when necessary for speakers. The next step is to find out who does own the work and whether they will give the speaker permission to use it. The speaker's assistant can be a huge help to the speaker client who is busy traveling and creating speeches and presentations and may not have the time or expertise to research and follow up to make sure all the required permissions are gathered. The first part of the process may involve doing research if the speaker isn't sure where a certain statistic came from or who said a quote. This requires a lot of follow-up usually, so it takes some detail to keep track of responses. Once the speaker's assistant determines the owner of the quote or statistic, he or she will request the permission and get the legal permissions form signed. On the screen are samples of the kind of request letter or email that might be sent to ask for permission, and also a legal language form that you're hoping to get signed and kept as a record of the permission. If a speaker can't get permission, it's very important to know as soon as possible so he or she can substitute some different material in the presentation. A hard copy of the permissions forms should be kept for the life of the handout or webinar, so organizing the responses and keeping records is critical. If you're looking to do more marketing over the next year to increase the number of times you speak per month or to get the buzz you need to increase your fees, then there are a number of things you must do to make the marketing and sales happen. A speaker's assistant can help with each of these critical tasks, and we're going to look in more detail at these tasks, including handling the coordination of the marketing, coordinating changes to update the website whenever needed, making changes to the media kit, creating one-sheets, bios, press releases, blogs, and newsletters, coordinating social networking, researching the hottest competition, soliciting testimonials from audience members and meeting planners, answering questions from event prospects, and managing media and email campaigns. We're going to look at one of these tasks in more detail, coordinating changes to the media kit. A full speaker's media kit will include a one-sheet with a list of speaking topics and descriptions, speaker bios, images, speaker photo JPEGs, press releases, testimonials and endorsements, scheduled events, media and live, interview questions and answers. Those items in green are regularly updated, and the speaker's assistant can help make sure to stay on top of these things so they're always current. The speaker should continually think about how their topics of expertise relate to the news of the day and should release their own news stories accordingly. A press release should be a short, a page or two at most, document with a provocative headline that grabs the reader's attention. Enticing statistics in the opening of a press release immediately communicate the magnitude of the problem or challenge represented by the topic the speaker addresses. The speaker's assistant knows how and when to get press releases out for the speaker. Speakers depend on testimonials and third-party endorsements to promote their speaking. A speaker's assistant can handle the day-to-day details of obtaining and distributing testimonials. After every speech, usually the host organization will do some sort of evaluation to capture audience reaction. Sometimes they'll share it with the speaker and sometimes they won't, but again, that's something the VSA can help track. When a speaker starts a marketing effort, it's helpful to show all the media the speaker has already had and that the speaker is active in currently speaking or creating events. Events can be media events or live events. Live events are times and places a speaker might be speaking by phone or in person, such as a workshop or virtual interview or a teleclass. A speaker's assistant can help make sure the upcoming events are coordinated up on the website, and they can also spearhead a marketing outreach to make sure the speaker's blog, articles, newsletters, and social media are effective in promoting the event. Just the logistics of being at the right place at the right time with the right presentation and handouts, the right stage and audience setup is a full-time job for a speaker. A speaker's assistant can help with each of these critical tasks you see on the screen. These include coordinating event logistics with meeting planners and speakers bureaus, managing contract negotiations, and this doesn't mean that the speaker doesn't do the actual negotiations, but there's much recording and connection that needs to be made that the VSA can help with, setting up travel logistics, coordinating the physical logistics of the speech, pre-event coordination of the stage, the microphone, the podium, and more, keeping up with new technology for recording, for calendaring, for sharing documents, and more, and finally, helping with the creation of speakers' video. We're going to look at specifically at one of these tasks, setting up travel logistics. Some speakers like aisle seats, some speakers like window seats, and some speakers want the exit rows for more legroom. Some speakers want to fly first class, but they don't want the first row in first class because they want to put their laptop overhead versus under their seat. Some speakers have dietary concerns that a VSA could let the airlines know. If the speaker is flying first class, is she a vegetarian? Does she want a kosher meal? Generally, speakers don't like to travel on Sundays since that's often personal or family time. A lot of speakers would rather get home to their families rather than spend an extra night, so they have no problem with night flights. These are just some of the things a speaker's assistant is prepared to handle when it comes to travel. Each speaker's assistant is trained to use forms and to make sure all details are covered and nothing is forgotten. If your office isn't coordinated, many things can go wrong. A speaker's assistant can help with each of these critical tasks you see on the screen, setting up administrator procedures for things like hold dates and answering prospect questions, handling changes to the database of clients and prospects with a contact relationship management system, managing the event calendar to maximize travel opportunities, and managing industry certifications such as certified speaking professional designations and others. We're going to take a more careful look at one of these tasks, setting up administrative procedures, to give you an idea of what you might expect when you work with an author's assistant. There are many aspects to running a speaker's office, including taking incoming calls from speaking engagement prospects, speakers bureaus, meeting planners, and more. Then there's the outgoing marketing and other communication. It's also vital to keep files and records of contracts, permissions, and events. The speaker's assistant also assists with coordinating what the speaker needs at events, such as microphones, computer projectors, lighting, sound, and videotaping. One of the most important duties is keeping the speaker's calendar. When a call comes in about an upcoming speaking engagement, the speaker's assistant will know how to handle hold dates and communicate with the speaker to solidify the booking. The speaker's assistant coordinates the production and fulfillment of the speaker's products, of maintaining the inventory, and of assisting with virtual and live speaking product launches. Selling products at the back of the room and online is a great source of income for most speakers. The speaker's assistant can make sure products make it on time and in good condition to the event, and can set up at the event and make sure any unsold products are shipped back in good condition. If you're convinced that you're ready for a speaker's assistant, we have a directory where you can find assistants who've been thoroughly trained on all the tasks you've seen in this session and many more, and have passed a rigorous exam. These assistants are also part of an ongoing network of support, so if there's ever a question about the right path to take, they have a group of speaking industry professionals they can rely on to give direction and recommend resources. The speaker's assistant will also have his or her own network of publicists, designers, and others that can be wonderful resources for the speaker. You should always interview any speaker's assistant you're considering working with to make sure you're comfortable with his or her level of skills and that the working chemistry will be right between you. You might consider questions such as, what kind of training have you received as a speaker's assistant? Will you be able to handle my book and CD development as well? Do you like working on tight deadlines? Tell me about the other speakers you've worked with. What kind of progress reporting can I expect? Can you help me find a new web designer? Because there are so many aspects to the speaking process, it can be challenging for a speaker to know what he or she needs. The speaker's assistant can help outline the process for you and let you select what parts of the process you want his or her assistance with. We all know that things change as your reach expands and you have more speaking engagements and a busier schedule. Setting up clear expectations by talking ahead of time and creating good lines of communication is a priority that can pay off in increased opportunities for the speaker's assistant to help you avoid pitfalls and maximize opportunities. The speaker's assistant is a trained professional prepared to take on the tasks of the speaking process. However, the speaker's assistant occupies a distinct niche and does his or her best work on these tasks, assuming you will also need to hire other experts such as the marketing strategist, web designer, publicist, and others. The speaker's assistant can execute the plans you put together with the aid of the marketing consultant or publicist, but you should not expect the speaker's assistant to take the place of professionals who have been trained to do that kind of specialized work. The speaker's assistant wants you to have the best chance of success. Anyone can write a press release, but only someone trained in the intricate details can create a press release that's likely to get broad media attention. Much as you might have a general practitioner as a doctor who can handle most of your health needs, it's important to know when to call in a specialist so you have the best possible results. The same thing is true of the speaker's assistant, who can handle an amazing number of tasks, but may not be a specialist in everything. It is important to discuss your expectations on what you need with the speaker's assistant so that the list of tasks he or she takes on matches your budget. Speaker's assistants work both by the hour and by the project and may set a retainer so that you pay approximately the same amount each month for the duration of the project, although that may be higher at first and be reduced after the office is organized and running efficiently and the marketing tasks become more routine. Speaker's assistants' fees vary depending on skill level and region of the country. We've identified 30 specific tasks in the speaking process that we thoroughly teach so that you know you'll be working with an experienced professional. Part of the training is ongoing support from expert resources, so there's always a place to ask for help in any situation. Thanks again for watching and listening. If you're interested in finding a trained speaker's assistant, please see the directory at www.speakersassistants.com. Or for more information on the Virtual Speakers Assistant Training, see www.speakersassistanttraining.com. We wish you much success in your journey as a speaker.